guys? We are back. At the Movies is over, and so the vlog is back. And let me tell you, we have had such a fun time here in middle school on the vlogs. If you're maybe newer and you're just now like getting introduced to the vlogs, you need to subscribe to us on YouTube. So go and search X_YTH, a fun way to say X Youth, and you can watch all of our past vlogs. Man, we have over 170 episodes of fun content from the past 2-3 years of just so many fun times at the vlog. So you need to make sure you're letting your friends know about X Youth on YouTube. Also, you're subscribed. We are so close to 500 subscribers, so we are really trying to raise the level of engagement on YouTube. And let me tell you, this month and next month are going to be some really fun times here on the vlog. So you need to make sure that you're here on Sundays. It's so important for you guys to be here every single week to have fun with us and also be able to learn about Jesus at your level. Some of my favorite vlogs this year. Here's like some that I can think about right now. The drip challenge. That was fun.
This is going to take forever.
Well,
to drink this whole thing. It's going to take forever. We just got to go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Another one of my favorite parts of the vlog was sweet versus sour. I don't care what anyone says, a spoonful of sour cream is disgusting.
I'm not having another bite of that. That is disgusting. Do not try that at home unless you want to throw up all over your parents' couch.
And then one of my favorite moments of the entire vlog just this year was the tortilla challenge. You guys already know what that is. And we want to let you know that in December, we're going to be doing something really fun called Vlogmas. We're going to be celebrating Christmas all December, doing some very fun challenges with an ultimate goal at the end of December. Some fun punishments, some fun challenges that you cannot miss. So you need to be here in middle school so that you can experience this all together. It's going to be super, super fun. So today we are starting a brand new series called Audacious Faith. That's a big word. So let's say it all together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Audacious faith. And what we're going to be talking about is the word faith. Faith is so important when it comes to our walk with Christ. And we're going to be talking about what it means to have faith. And we're going to be coming around the idea of faith in the book of Hebrews chapter 11. And Hebrews 11 is known in the Bible to scholars and other people that read it called the Hall of Faith. Basically, Hebrews 11 talks about people in the Bible who have had incredible faith. Talks about Noah, talks about Abraham, talks about Moses. Because of their faith in God, they were able to do extraordinary things in his name. And I can even just think of what it would be like to be in the Hall of Fame. Just think right now, like, what are some things that you would be in the Hall of Fame for? For me, it would be the Hall of Fame of the amount of times that I've gagged on the vlog. The amount of times that I've thrown up on the vlog is countless. So I would be in the Hall of Fame for that. What is something that you would be in the Hall of Fame for? I'm going to read a verse about faith that comes from Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1. It says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Heroes of the faith, like I said, are Noah, Abraham, Moses. God used those people to do some truly incredible things. And when I look at those names, all of those names, they have audacious faith. They have a faith that is just so extraordinary and maybe is bigger than my faith. And a lot of times I can feel unqualified because of that. But in reality, when we look at the Hall of Faith, we don't see a list of people that were perfect. Noah had a problem. Abraham had his struggles. Moses had his insecurities. But even despite that, God was still able to use these people because they had faith in him. These people were the most unlikely people to be used by God, but because of their faith, that is what qualified them. And what I want to tell you today is that faith is the only ingredient that God needs from us. Hebrews 11 verse 6 says, "And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him." Faith is all it takes. Faith is all we need to be able to be obedient to what God asks of us and to be able to be used for significance. And today we're going to be reading a story from Daniel chapter 3. We're talking about these three guys with the coolest names in the world: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Have you ever heard those names before? Maybe you know this story. This is about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego going through the blazing furnace. And basically, King Nebuchadnezzar has this large idol statue, and everyone is ordered to bow before the statue. The statue is Baal. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because of their faith in God, they know that they are not able to bow to idols, but to stand strong and worship the one true God. And because of their faith, they did not bow before this idol. They said that we will not do that. We will not bow before anyone else before the Lord our God. And even through a crowd of thousands of people who were bowing to the idol, that were afraid to be shamed for going against God, they stood for God.
Man, I'm dead.
And I'm going to read this story from Daniel chapter 3, verses 10 through 18. Your Majesty, talking about King Nebuchadnezzar, has issued a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music must fall down and worship the image of gold, and that whoever does not fall and worship will be thrown into a blazing furnace. But there are some Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, your master. They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold you have set up. Furious with rage, Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king, and Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is this true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you did not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? Now when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, "King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God that we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if," focus on these words right now, "but even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." Wow, the boldness that these three have to stand before a king and to say that we are not going to bow down to your idols. We are not going to bow down to the way of the world, but we're going to stand up for what we believe in. The worship that we have committed ourselves to is to God and not to this image, not to anything else. And imagine to have that faith, to stand in the face of adversity and say that I'm not going to stand for this, but I'm going to stand for God. Focus on that phrase that they said, even if God doesn't deliver us from the blazing furnace, we are still not going to bow down to any false idols. Imagine having that faith. And what faith needs to do in us is it needs to allow us to stand out in front of the crowd. To have that faith to know that we're not going to bow down to anything else. We're not going to give into peer pressure. We're not going to succumb to the pressure of our friends. But God has called us to stand out. And we're going to have that even if faith. The confidence in the even if faith statement really inspires me to know that they even trusted God even if it meant they were going to die. Do you have even if faith? Do you have that kind of faith that says, like, even if God doesn't give me what I want, I'm still going to serve him? Or do you have that faith that says, even if I don't get the answer that I like, I'm still going to be obedient and trust God? Do you have that faith today? Think about that as you go into small groups. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.